Hey you gang, welcome back to Mick. My name is, of course, Jack the Snack that smiles back. Thought we'd do some little live reading today together with some stuff from off my chest, and today I fricked up. Very entertaining things. Enjoy. Starting with what is by far the best title I've ever read. I make my doctor touch my balls because he forces visits for inhalers. What? This is someone who's definitely learned how to play the system. I have had asthma my whole life, and it is not going to go away. I don't agree that I need to pay for appointments every few months to get my inhalers because the doctor needs to check up on me. I found out getting my balls checked out is covered by my insurance, so each visit I make him check my balls as a way to make us even. I mean, if it's not proactive with the appointment checkups, I don't know what is. I kind of have to give more props to them for the fact that they have the comfort to just let a doctor consistently fondle their balls. Well, I mean, they're checking up on it as part of their job. They're not exactly groping you. I don't know. I wouldn't find it comfortable. Every few months to do that. Look, it's a few months. I'm sure you could drink away the trauma by then. This is kind of hilarious, and if, God forbid, you ever get testicular cancer or something, you'll stumble into catching it early. Oh no, the doctor's revenge. He checks OP's balls, and regardless of what he feels, he just says, "Nah, mate, all good. Smooth as a baby's bottom." Well, okay, but there's your problem. The balls shouldn't be smooth. They should be hairy and a little bumpy from the hair follicles. OP, are you sanding your testicles? I thought I told you not to do that. Your doctor is making you continue appointments just so he can squeeze your balls at this point. He phased out the need for appointments for inhalers like years ago. He just really enjoys the texture of your testicles, sir. It's very relaxing. But what else we got? Something that's equally lighthearted and a little bit silly. My ex-boyfriend wants me to help him take care of the baby he had with the girl he cheated on me with because she died. Oh, that's a bit cheeky. So basically I dated the guy for 3 years, and how I found out he was cheating was because the girl messaged me on Facebook telling me she was pregnant with his baby. I was hurt nonetheless, but after confronting him, he moved out to go live with her and start their family. Now, I get a message from him saying that his girlfriend has died and he's struggling to go to work and raise the newborn by himself. He asks if we can get back together so we can raise the baby as a family. I immediately said no, telling him he had some nerve to ask me something like this and if he was drunk. Well, yeah! You cheated on this woman and you think she's gonna be like, "Oh, well, for this baby you got from cheating on me with." He said I was being a bitch, and the morally right thing to do would be to help him or the baby would suffer as well. I told him I have no obligation to raise this child, as not only is it not mine, but he cheated on me with the child's mother. How could he possibly expect me to go along with this and get back together? So now I'm getting hate messages from his family and friends telling me how awful of a person I am. Never liked them much, and I remembered why. I did send him some money for the baby, but that's all I'm willing to do. Not sure if it's the right thing, but I refuse to get sucked into this. You can always tell how petty and completely right you are in the situation if that person, instead of actually, making an effort to maybe prove why they're in the right, get all their friends and family to harass you. Which then obviously makes you beg the question, which this comment completely highlights: if his family and friends are so concerned, why aren't they helping him raise the baby? Because they don't want the responsibility, they just want to judge her for not having the responsibility, which she doesn't have in the first place, or doesn't need to partake in. Just wow, imagine that. Someone cheating on you, that person getting pregnant, and just them crawling back to you, not because they want to be with you again, but because they want you to have the responsibility of their child. This man wants a mother. He doesn't want a partner. He wants someone to raise this child for him. Oh gosh, and the stories get more creepy. My sister's 16-year-old stepdaughter keeps sitting on my husband's lap, and I get called weird for being uncomfortable with it. Right, this subreddit's clearly turning into some weird erotica fanfic. My sister, 36, has a 16-year-old stepdaughter that she introduced to us a few months ago. I've noticed that she's been paying my husband too much attention and asking him personal questions. I thought her behavior was somewhat inappropriate, but recently, whenever we visit, whether we're sitting in the living room or the dining table, this girl would leave her seat and come sit on my husband's lap. She would do it every single time we visit, and remain on his lap for a while. My husband acts like it's normal, and so does my sister and her fiance. Me, on the other hand, I find this completely inappropriate, especially with the way she dresses. It makes me feel so uncomfortable. I brought this up with my sister, and she called me weird and said that I was wrong to assume it's in any way inappropriate because it's completely normal. But I don't know how many people who would be okay with that or think it's normal. Again, this girl just keeps acting inappropriately as a whole. She once told my husband she's shown him some dresses after she asked if he liked the one she was wearing. Ooh, even that alone is a bit, for a young, she's 16. I don't know, I just don't see any reason why she would innocently want her stepmother's husband's... Who is she in the family? I guess uncle. She wants her uncle's opinion on how she looks. And how old's the uncle again? Isn't mentioned, but I assume he's in his mid-30s, maybe even 40. My sister says she's a child, but I don't think that her behavior is appropriate for a child. No, she's 16. She's not a child anymore. You don't get to... She's pretty much grown teen. She wants to get it on with something, and it's clearly the uncle. I feel like I'm going crazy over this and keep wishing she'd just stop because I might just tell her off myself, though my sister will be royally ticked off at me and accuse me of ruining her relationship with her stepdaughter. Oh yes. This is where I agree with this top comment. You need to apply power moves. Sit on his lap and say my seat. just a heavy plonk and just stare at her. Hell, brag about his cock. No, cut that. Don't do that. That's even more inappropriate than her. Oh my god. Oh no! No! What are these? This is not how you assert dominance. You complain about whether or not she's being appropriate. Those things, I feel, are very much crossing the line. Well, my problem is, like an adult woman competing with a 16-year-old girl. What is the man doing here? Is he making sure she's like, okay, this is too far? Like, I appreciate affection, between family, that kind of thing, but you're constantly sitting on my lap. My partner does find it a bit odd, and therefore I don't feel comfortable doing this because I know it's making my partner feel uncomfortable. There's a difference between being a doormat to your partner's whipping versus genuinely caring how they feel when a young girl is, clearly being a bit, ugh. Yeah, this is interesting. So, going down this little thread here, obviously bringing up all those things. Yeah, she's a child, but she's also being inappropriate. This is interesting. What about your husband? Come on, let's get into your husband about this too. And the OP is responding again, just focusing purely on what the sister's thinking and also mentioning, to be frank, her stepdaughter is at least somewhat aware of what I think of her behavior. So it's clearly not an act of complete ignorance to what she's doing between you two. Interesting that OP completely focuses on her sister to avoid the reality of her husband's inappropriate behavior. Gross. Yeah, it's denial. Much easier to focus on her sister and attach all the blame to her than to confront the husband who is the real creep here. I am a 49-year-old man, and if a 16-year-old, scantily clad family member sat on my lap, I would feel so cringy and uncomfortable that it would be the first and last time it ever happened. No one in my family would normalize that behavior either. They would all look at it as bizarre and inappropriate. Yeah, and look, until she confronts the husband and the husband's statement is clear about this, I don't know what to trust about him. It could be a case too where he himself is just too uncomfortable with really confronting it because he doesn't want to make her feel ashamed. Could you imagine if she was genuinely just innocently enjoying sitting on her uncle's lap? Maybe his thighs have just great cushioning. Maybe. I hope. Let's dive down the rabbit hole a bit more. Just found out the chick I've been hooking up with wants to have it on with my pit bull. Nothing wrong with a bit of zoophilia. Woohoo! It's like I always say, never trust a girl who's into doggy style. No, I never say that. I've hooked up with this girl a handful of times, and last week she was texting me all drunk and stoned and asked if she could have it on with my pit bull. I told her no, that makes me uncomfortable since animals can't actually consent, and it's a really gross kink to me. So she said, okay, she was just curious because she saw a Puno with that in it and it turned her on. So she's curious about it. Look, it's fine to be curious about things. It's another to actually want to act on that curiosity. Hell, no, actually being curious in the first place is purely wrong because curiosity implies you have the intention to want to pursue it. Oh gosh. Fast forward to last night when we are hooking up, and I ask her if there are any intimate things she wants to try that she hasn't yet, in hopes that maybe she was kidding last week and when she was drunk. She doesn't say anything about dogs. So here I am, thinking I'm in the clear, and she was kidding! Well, I just got another drunk text from her, asking if she could suck my pit bull off this time, as if she doesn't remember asking last week. Ooh! Ooh! Just realized that's probably the sound a dog makes when it's getting sucked off. What? I explained I was really uncomfortable with it, and I honestly don't know if it's just something she likes to joke about when she's drunk and stoned, or if she actually wants to frick dogs. Thinking about cutting things off, because this was just too weird. Now there's a bunch of edits here, so let's get into it. Few things. First, she was never been to my house or met my dog. She's only seen pictures. 2, I hooked up with her again after the first text only because she didn't mention it when I brought up her kinks in person. I fully intend on cutting ties with her once I show her the texts and make sure that her friends weren't using her phone and fricking with me. The reason I shared this story, the only intention, was so some of you could laugh at the horrible situation I find myself in. I've been up all night stressed out this. Gonna try and sleep, we'll update everyone after I talk to her. And I guess he did! Oh boy! So I just got off a FaceTime with her. When I sent her the texts, her face was pure shock, and she said she never sent them and blamed it on her 14-year-old son because he has tried to ruin previous dates of hers in the past after her divorce. Oh, it's a very... Look, if she can have proof of her 14-year-old son existing, I'd believe it. I told her I am not even willing to risk it at this point, so we'll not be seeing her again. I wore condoms when hooking up with her, but going to be tested anyway, and honestly, I feel like Ace Ventura after he made out with Finkel Einhorn. I feel like I should know that reference, and I feel extremely betrayed in myself that I don't. Hopefully I didn't ruin too many of your day. This post was brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hey, that's my line! Do that, but don't do that to their story. Yep, nailed it. Oh my goodness. Let's just go down this dumpster fire of a conversation. So responding to the OP, cut her off, trust me, that's disgusting behavior. Poor animals don't deserve to experience that by sick humans. Cut contact, joke or not, it's sick and disturbing. And yeah, it's deeply concerning that this woman is watching that type of adult content. I mean, again, we're basing this on the idea that they haven't read the edit. I assume none of these people actually read that edit about the update where it was apparently the 14-year-old son. So keeping that in mind, someone brings up Whitney, Wisconsin. Who is Whitney, Wisconsin, you might ask? For those of us who don't know, well, they go into detail, and I think this is possibly enough internet for today already. She is a Midwestern trailer trash who did this stuff to her dog, put videos online, and told other people to try it, giving them tips. Put socks on their paws so they don't scratch you. Then she killed a puppy by feeding it hot dogs to make it stronger so he would frick better, I guess. She was eventually arrested and did jail time for doing herself in public and walking around a restaurant asking people to smell it. What? Oh my gosh. Welcome to the internet. Be traumatized everywhere. Whitney, Wisconsin, folks. Gosh, even the name sounds like some sort of porn star name. Speaking of women being extremely inappropriate, let's check out this one. My aunt tried to sleep with me, and I turned her down. Then she told my uncle that I forced myself on her. Wow, and oh my gosh, just skimming the start of this. Like the absolute manipulation of power here. My uncle and his wife took me in when my father died. His wife and I get along, but I noticed that she gets friendlier when my uncle is not around. My uncle is a businessman and goes away a lot. I chalked it up to her trying to make an effort, but it got weird. She would get extremely touchy and ask me inappropriate questions, or asking to watch a movie together and choose ones with very steamy scenes. I started staying in my room whenever my uncle was not around just to avoid to interact with her. Sometime last week, my uncle had a business trip and it was just me and her. The day before yesterday, she came into my room drunk and wearing a very short nightdress and tried to make conversation. I told her I was busy studying, but she would not leave. I then decided to leave and go downstairs, but she stood in front of me. Next thing I knew, her hand was on my crotch. I freaked out and yelled at her, and she told me that she knows that I want her and that she wants me too. My uncle does not have to know. I told her that she is delusional. I have no interest in her whatsoever. She is my aunt, for frick's sake. I literally had to drag her out out and locked my door. She got angry and banged on my door, but I ignored her. I decided that it would be better to tell my uncle when he came back instead of over the phone because it is a sensitive matter. He was scheduled to come back yesterday and I was at the library. When I got back home, he was totally enraged. He told me to pack my stuff and go. I was confused and asked him, go where? Why? And he told me, how dare I come into his home and take advantage of his wife. She had told him that she got drunk and I came onto her and slept with her. I tried explaining that she was lying, but he wanted to hear nothing from me. He punched me and pushed me out, saying I am lucky he did not call the cops and to get out of his property before he does. His wife was crying the whole time, but smirked behind my uncle when I looked at her. Everything felt so unreal. Why would she do this? I do not know what to do, and he would not even let me get all of my things, which are technically his because he bought them. I spent the night scared and so cold. He is a father figure to me, and my heart is so broken. I am just so lost. Yeah, extremely dark. I won't deny that. Wow, that is horrible. And wow, what a manipulative psycho that aunt is. According to the OP, all this stuff is, yeah, she's completely clean and covered. There's no way he could really get through with it. He has no one to really back him up. She's extremely skilled at having a two-face. This is just a horrible experience that I'm so sorry the OP had to go through. Then you have people on the internet further encouraging the fact that we should never take this kind of assault experience from men seriously. You should have just let her suck you off. Yeah, should have smashed, dude. Something about that is quite sexy, how evil she is. You got a number, mate? And then there's this person who, I'm sorry, how does this compare? Similar thing happened to me a few weeks ago. So me and my family are staying in a hotel in Missouri for vacation. Me and my older brother realized that there's only 2 beds. No, the 2 beds fit 2 people, and one of the beds was for our mum and stepdad. I said I could sleep on the chair in the room, and my brother said he could sleep on the floor. My mother strictly said that we both had to sleep together. It was so uncomfortable, and when I told my mum I didn't like it, she said it was cute and normal. That is in no way similar to this situation. Oh no, you had to share a bed with your sibling. Your sibling was not trying to grab your penis. Wow, the desperate attempt to try and be like, I am in your situation too. But let's end things on a disturbing note. There are always fun things to do. You ever wonder if your dad's possibly a serial killer? No? Well, that's boring. I'm not really supposed to be talking about this because my mum's death is still open or under investigation. A little backstory to start. My mum had me when she was 40. I'm the youngest kid. My oldest brother is about 40 now. My mum died when I was 7. I'm 17 now. So going on 10 years and still little information about her death. I truly believe my dad killed her. I ran away from my dad when I was 13. He is a raging alcoholic and drug addict, abuser, mentally and physically, and just not care about any of his kids. Anyways, so when my mum was raising my oldest brother, she was a great mum. She was clean, always made sure the house was clean, basically just normal parenting, but a little bit better. So anyways, years go by, and she ends up hooking up with my dad. My dad got her pregnant. What she didn't know was that he was married and had 2 kids. She was devastated. My dad ended up divorcing his wife and marrying my mum. They knew nothing about each other. So anyways, my dad got my mum into drugs and alcohol. She was easy to manipulate, so that's what he did. My mum's dad ended up dying out of the blue, so they got a bunch of money, and it was only a little bit after they were married and my sister was born. My oldest brother wasn't in the picture for any of this, by the way, because he was deployed, because he was in the Marines. So he didn't know about my dad. So anyways, okay, you need to stop starting your sentences with so anyways. My mum keeps on going with her addiction and ends up having my brother and then me. We watched our dad beat our mother and all of us kids. She had no control and couldn't do anything. The house was disgusting, like maggots on the counter, roaches everywhere. We lived like this, but we were little and didn't know any better. My dad made my mum think that her family hated her, so after her dad died, she barely talked to her family. So my mum ends up finally going to rehab, gets clean. But this is only because my dad decides he's done with her. He wanted all us kids. She didn't sign the divorce papers because of that. So she was clean, got a house a street over, and was doing really good for herself. Us kids were so excited to move in with her one day, but then she dies. But how? We don't know. They can't release information because the case is still open, but everyone knows it was my dad. I also forgot to mention that my mum got disability because of some issues, but since they were still married, he had control over the money. So anyways, she dies. My dad got money, of course, but consistently every month. A couple months later, my dad is marrying this new lady, and guess what? Her husband died the same time around my mum, so she also got money for that. My dad also took my mum's ashes and hid them for 8 years because apparently the new stepmom wasn't comfortable with them in the house. I've met a lot of mean people in my life, but she by far was the worst I have ever met. She would tell us kids we were the reason our mother was dead. Okay, so there is so much more details, so I'm going to fast forward because it's getting long. Anyway, he ends up divorcing her after a couple years. I was already done running away. He now has this new girl. You're probably thinking, there is no way someone else died around him. You're wrong. Not only did this woman's husband died, but also her son. Am I crazy for thinking he hurt my mum? Or is just all of this a crazy coincidence? There is so much more info, but that's for another time. Another time in the comments, I hope. Yeah! Not to make light of this possible very serious situation, but ooh, gossip. Let's dive in. Some more information. After my mum died, he kept us away from her family. We were not allowed to contact them or talk about them. We were also not allowed to talk about our mum. We could never talk about him about our feelings. He could care less about us. We were only money to him. It's caused drug problems in my other siblings and left me with lots of mental health issues. I could always tell what was right and what was wrong since after my mum died. I'm glad I realized that and got away when I could. I do not have contact with him, and I haven't seen him since 2020, and I don't plan to unless I am testifying against him in court. All my other siblings are adults, and I will be turning 18 this year. None of all my other siblings talk to him. Regardless if he killed people or not, he is a horrible person and deserves to rot in hell. Karma will catch up to him one day. Cannot wait to see it. Yeah, I'm with this comment. I don't think the coincidences apply when people around him just keep dying. Also, what's this evil stepmother here all about, huh? Her husband suddenly passing away too? Is a little team strategy going on? And it's hard though too, because she clearly really hates this man for valid reasons, but it does make it hard for you to have an unbiased view on what this man is capable of and what he actually has done. So I don't know. Up in the air. Who knows? We'll have to keep our eyes open on this story. How about we end this on a lighter note? Something to make fun of and laugh at the stupidity of. Husband wants an open relationship until I lose weight. Ah, best partner. During COVID and quarantine, I put on some weight, and because of that, my husband has been very vocal about him finding me too big and not attracted to me. But today, he told me he wants an open relationship until I've lost weight and weigh the same as I used to so that he finds me attractive. I don't know how to feel about it. I've told him I will start going to the gym, but that didn't make him change his mind. I have saved some money for a gym membership and clothes, so I'm preparing to start, but it kind of hurts me when he said he wanted to sleep with other women until I lost some weight. Is this normal? No! I get that he doesn't like that I've gained weight, but I'm trying to work on it, but I just feel like it would be nice with some support from him instead of him being with other women until I'm more fit. I don't know. If you're no longer attracted to someone in a relationship, you end the relationship, especially when you are so petty about their physical looks that you will do this to them. Like, what the hell do you think was gonna happen with this, Meg? So dumb. You can have your preferences and standards of attraction, sure, but oh, please, OP, please tell me you point out that he is just a big chunk of lard himself. I guarantee he is. They almost always are. Oh, this right here. What's going to happen when you get old? You'll have it on with other girls while you search for the fountain of youth. You see where this is going to end up. Get out now. And I don't know. I don't think I've ever come across a man who's had a better experience in an open relationship than a woman has. Like, mate, you honestly think you're going to be able to get it better than she can? You think you're going to have more success? You're going to get so jealous. She's going to actually bump into someone who is better for her, and you'll have screwed yourself over because you won't be screwing anyone else. So he loves you, but under conditions. Conditional love is not made for marriage. A man. No, so any man would be better than this one. Lose 180 pounds with this one simple trick. Divorce. Well, my sassy Sasquatches, that is where we're going to end today's interesting stories. Look, I wouldn't really say they were all fun. Some are rather traumatic. Let's just end it there. Thanks for watching. Your support on this channel is always appreciated, so do like and subscribe. Otherwise, love you so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.